May the evening soothe and welcome you, O travelers from Upper Egypt.
You will travel no further, because you are come. Here, you are at the beginning of time.
Here was conceived and lived the great week of the creation of the world and the separation of the earth from the waters. You are at the house of the Father.
In this house of the Father, each pharaoh thought of himself as a son and wished to leave his mark upon it.
Each added, superimposed, overdid, outdid, through a span of 20 centuries.
The result is this fabulous labyrinth of facades and passages, esplanades and corridors, perspectives and detours to which only priests and pharaoh had access.
The solemn threshold you have just crossed was forbidden to common mortals.
The city of God was a fortress where a whole garrison of mystic votaries watched over the great divine scheme of things. Sunrises, eclipses of the moon, dynastic chains, the bark of night, the balms of immortality.
The Father is like unto an aged shepherd, His right hand holds the shepherd's crook that gathers in the dust of the stars. His left hand fondles a wild ram walking with him. He is the god of the first day. It is he who is called Ammon. At the very mention of his name, priests bow the head, and mere mortals prostrate themselves in the dust. Sometimes Ram and a god blend together, and a curly-browed sphinx can be seen leading the flock, like this one that the sculptor has fashioned in multiplicity, the god called Karnak. Time of its full splendor, this citadel could only be reached by a royal canal and a sacred animal. The pharaoh, aboard his barge of glory, could moor here, welcomed on the holy quayside in the shade of the sycamores by the pontiff and his numberless retinue of priests with their feather fans.
Do not be overwhelmed by the sheer size of these ruins.
The citadel that arose here was not designed on the scale of men, but on the grand scale of God, from whom all things flowed. The drought and the flood, the granaries and the plagues, dreams and power, death and survival. And if one of you this evening were to voice the question that you are whispering in your hearts, who art thou, Ammon? The answer would seep from these walls, these lintels, these pedestals, these secret chambers, these piled ruins. For the answer is written everywhere in 1,000 different hieroglyphics.
I am the father of fathers, the mother of mothers, and the bull of the 7 celestial kinds. I open my mouth to speak in the midst of silence. I cause to be that men should have a path on which to tread. I open the eyes of all that they might see. My right eye is the day. My left eye is the night. And the waters of the Nile spurt from my sandals.
Ammon, the father of all things, had for wife the goddess Mut, who sat a little below him, wearing a royal headdress of vulture feathers. Near to the father and the mother is the son, Hans, standing rigid as a mummy, with a crescent moon picked out upon his oblong head. They made up the Karnak triad, the Holy Family, for whom, and for 2,000 years, ceaselessly, complex fortifications were built by the hands of men.
Here, in this place, I, Seti, built the resting place for the holy monks beside the avenue. It is made up of 3 contiguous sandstone chapels. The chapel of Ammon's bark is in the center. The chapel of Holmes is to the east. The chapel of Ute to the west. I believe this edifice is worthy of Ammon, and worthy long to bear witness to the glory of Seti II.
Conceived that more than one resting place was needed for the sacred parts of the Holy Family. So, midway between the sanctuary and the river, I brought into being this edifice. A veritable temple with pylon guarded by colossi, peristyle courtyard, pillared hall and sanctuary.
Tutankhamun, the youthful pharaoh who re-established Ammon in all his power and glory after the treachery of my brother. I have left behind me in this courtyard nothing but this calcite sphinx.
I, Taharqa, a Nubian, reigning late in a crumbling dynasty, built this central pavilion, of which little now remains, but a specimen of the papyrus-capped gracious colonnade, and an alabaster block that served as an altar for the divine offering.
I, a pharaoh whose name is lost, so many contradictions are graven on my pedestal. I left the symbolic image of all the pharaohs. This gigantic statue, rising against the western side of the second pylon, clasping to its legs the tiny figure of a beloved queen.
I, Ramesses II, the grand elder of the Ramessid dynasty, the flame of the 19th dynasty. I claim the honor, more than 3,000 years ago, of having completed this second pylon you are about to pass. At its foot, I place the stela telling of the victory of Kamoses over the Hyksos from the east. 2 of my images watched over the gate of the sanctuary. Only the southern statue has remained intact, but it is enough to keep alive the memory of my august reign. For 67 years, I wore the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. 3 royal queens shared my bed. The third was the daughter of the Hittite king, the most powerful monarch of Asia Minor. You may measure the vastness of my empire, but to judge the span of my life, know that after her I married 4 of my own daughters, and that the number of my children was 92 boys and 106 girls.
I, a pharaoh of the later period, a king of the twilight, Ptolemy Euergetes II. I built this marvelous gate leading to the chambers of God. The panels are of genuine cedar of the Lebanon, lined with Asian copper. May they open to you this evening and give you access to the most secret, most impressive part of the Karnak labyrinth.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. I don't want to get lost, so I'm walking next to you.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I didn't pay much attention. Is it just you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I was the only one here. I wore one, so we had to miss night.
Lofty and mysterious as a petrified oasis, this is the dwelling of Ammon. These are the mighty stone organ pipes of Karnak.
Let's listen a while to the confused hubbub of words that seem to seep from these walls, thick with the inscriptions of signatures and prayers. Let's dream in this forest of symbols. The columns are all inspired by the umbelliferous papyrus of the river, which brought to Egypt both its grace and its knowledge. Some of the columns are open, that is to say, their capitals are open, while others are closed, like the flowers in the bud. A high-style chamber was built by Seti I between the second and third millenniums, and he decorated a large part of the walls and columns with reliefs. The decoration was completed by Ramesses II, who used not reliefs this time, but sunken reliefs. This high-style chamber is the mother of all the three major basilicas which later were inspired by his hands.
The function of this chamber is essentially both religious and imperial. The physical presence of Ammon was there in the form of a statue transported on above, and Pharaoh came here to regenerate his soul, since he reigned over Upper and Lower Egypt, in other words, for the universe, in his quality as son of Ammon.
Let's admire this cluster of columns, in which the architect has striven to capture a very sad line in stone. That sap that feeds the giant papyrus cups, springing from a rich silt, swarming with birds and reptiles. The Nile, so like the Egyptian language, with its poetic vitality flowing even beyond the boundaries of the dead.
It is dawn, and we can imagine the daily awakening of Egypt, as if our hieroglyphics were suddenly to shake themselves from slumber.
In the depths of the sanctuary, Ammon the god, the creator, is present in the form of his statue. There is the ceremonial for the opening of his mouth, for the mouth orders both men and events. There are fumigations, repeated anointings, touchings of the face with a fork of silex and of adze, blessing the hoof of an ox, all these solemn rites have literally incorporated the soul of Ammon in its receptacle of sculptured wood.
Pharaoh came into the divine presence this morning. He purified himself in the waters of the sacred lake. He will proceed to awaken the god with his retinue of priests. For the god is still sleeping, as every night, in his tabernacle that is sealed every evening.
Awake, Karnak, queen of the dwellings of the gods and goddesses that inhabit her. Awake, gods and goddesses, to the beauty of this new day. Awake in peace, Ammon, lord of Karnak.
The bond is broken, the seal unsealed. The twin gates of heaven are opening. The twin gates of the earth are swinging wide.
Hail to thee, Ammon, lord of Thebes, lord of lords, master of terror, and king of Ka.
The pharaoh's invitations are done. The ceremony will continue all day long around the awakening statue, with the assistance of hosts of priests.
God will be nourished with incense and libations. The remains of the offerings of meat and wine will naturally serve to feed the priests. After the noon libations, God will be entertained with paints, oils, perfumes, and jewels.
And in the evening, after a further purification, the statue will return to its tabernacle, sheltered behind a fresh clay seal applied to the lids.
Now, God is resting. We must leave the sanctuary. The sun has vanished behind the Theban mountains. Ammon has vanished into the night with the sun.